everybody, welcome live. We're here to be chatting with Jered here in just a second. So I'm very excited. Jered and I met on Clubhouse like a year and a half ago. He's since then joined the Facebook Ads MBA program. We're going to talk about surfing. We're going to talk about his history as creative and really just a lot of things he's doing with his ad agency and a lot of fun stuff. So without further ado, I'm going to bring Jered up. You can follow him. I'm going to let him show you everything that he's got. And we'll dive right in. So, Jered, good to see you, my man. I love the @ symbol, by the way. You can go ahead and give him a follow. That would be great. Or his is over there. I don't know. I can't point across to his side of the screen. But there you go. Jered, it's great to see you, my man. Please tell the people about yourself and what it is that you've been up to, because I know where you're coming from. And you and I go back for a bit of a ways. So I'm going to stand out of the way and just kind of let you tell the folks who's Jered.
Sure. Well, let's start with where I met Charlie. We said Clubhouse, and it was this amazing app during the pandemic that everyone and their mom was on, and it was very entertaining and fun, and it was a great way to actually get clients and leads. So because we are both very verbose people, we did pretty well on the platform. So anyway, that's where we met. That's where it comes from. I have a marketing agency called So Digital. I mainly run Facebook and Instagram ads. That is my malheur, as you would say in French, or bailiwick, another way to say it. And so I, do my research, and I'm a big deep diver into it. I started this in 2016 as a graphic designer, and I went to school as a graphic designer, have a master or bachelor's in that, and a bachelor's in art in design, and then I took that and kind of was always owned by the marketing department. Okay, so owned by the marketing department, designers, you start to learn what the marketers want and what marketing's about, because the more you know, the less you have to make changes. And the more changes you make, the more work you do. So there you go. So the more I learned marketing, the more I learned about this and that. And then it went on to me informing my company about this awesome thing. I was doing their social media organically and their design at the same time. And I was like, hey, there's this Gary V guy saying dark posts. And so then they paid me to start putting up dark posts. This was 2016, mind you, before it was Facebook ads. Okay, so
old school, man. Dark post, Gary Vaynerchuk. I love it.
Yep. So that was where it all started. That was where it all started for me. And now I have 5 or 6 clients shuffling in rotation. And I have actually quite a thriving little business for myself over here as a solopreneur. I'm actually hopefully going to probably adding on people soon. And the best way to do that, I know, is to do it with people that I know do exactly the same process as I do. And this process is simply defined, but definitely intricate. And so it needs to be learned and known. And this is Charlie's process. And a lot of this process I had been using incrementally before, but not in the wide scope or the full methodology scientifically of how Charlie puts it together and how it's done. And so this has really helped me with, in the middle of it, it was a hard transition for my clients. It's like, what is this Scrum doc? What are we doing? And but people don't know what the Scrum document is. It's a document that Charlie has provided all of his students that really helps us see the full overview and the microscopic view of Facebook and Instagram advertising in what matters, and not
and like the data that matters with trend analysis. How to take an audit of an ad account, really understand the value of what you're doing. That's what it's all about.
So in the middle of this, so I am learning and introducing this process to my clients at the same point in time. And the further I get into the course, the more excited my clients get, because the more documentation they're seeing, the less questions they're asking me, because everything's there in front of them and it's fully transparent. And probably my favorite thing is this community that we have. It's insane. And we are just, I don't know. I think I called Charlie. What I say? This is the way. I called you the what's the show?
Was that
The
Mandalorian?
Mandalorian. Yes, the Mandalorian. So yes, it's true though, because this is the way. Like we'll discuss, and then I'll just throw in this is the way, and everybody laughs because
And I love too. Like we have the community inside the Facebook Ads MBA program, but you and Tom and Kelvin and Vinny have made this whole little like side club of a side chat of just the other people that are like your own little group of stuff, your own little like Tuesday crew.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. We're pretty hardcore and whatever. It's kind of funny because we will put up the raw stuff in there and then it sifts to the Slack. And then if it goes from your Slack and then it goes from the Slack, if it doesn't get really answered by the small amount of people in your Slack, then it goes to the Facebook MBA group chat. And so there's, and you'll see the verbiage change once it gets to the next stage a little bit. So it's a really amazing community of people that I've found that really support me. And not only that, but your wins, but your losses, right? Like Charlie and I just had talks about like, you know, like when you have a loss or a win, either way, you get to celebrate with people or have people like help you be like, look, I have a client for you. Don't worry about it. They weren't good for me. So yeah, I mean, and so for me, it's really about pushing and I'm really invested in my client success. And I think that's something that I really, I didn't learn from Charlie, but Charlie has that same enthusiasm towards his students, right? And so that's what really drove me towards you is because you're always amount of caring. Even when I wasn't a paying student, I could tweet you or DM you and you would answer me back with care and thoughtfulness. Not always the most long, fully descriptive thing, but it was
half the time I'm answering questions by giving you a question to teach you how to think about something because the answer is going to be different for everybody.
Right, exactly. So therefore, you know, moving forward with my clients was kind of introducing them to Charlie, like, hey, here's the YouTube of the guy that I'm starting to follow now, and then also here are the new implementations of how we should really be looking at your business, like not from a media buyer agency point of view, more from honestly a CMO point of view of like, hey.
Why not be the CMO of the business if you're running the acquisition media, especially because everybody else is going to be so selfish and myopic. You could actually give a damn about the end result for the business. And all of a sudden, you care more than 90% of the people that work there. And you become irreplaceable, especially as you're laying out all this documentation and you're asking people, like when your motivation isn't how can I scale by spending more, but how can I deliver you a better business result so that you can be happier with the outcomes? Like you immediately differentiate yourself from 85% of the experts and agencies and gurus because you're no longer selfish. You're like actually you actually care about the end result for the business. And I think that is so tremendous in the relationship that you should have with clients. And one of the big things that I think separates you and a lot of the other folks that have been through the MBA program from the other folks that I see talking around, like their biggest objective is how can I get this account to scale? How can I get it to spend more? And like that's a ramification of doing good work. That isn't especially when an agency is charging a commission on an ad spend. Like now I don't give a damn about anything that you have to say.
Well, I think you brought up something that I never realized until even we started talking on Clubhouse is like you would say, well, that's great that you scaled the money, but what about the times you failed? And did you scale your efficiency? And I go, wait, what? Wait. Why does that make so much sense, but no one has said it? Have you scaled
it hurts your bottom line as an agency to not be spending more money, right? Like, why would an agency want you to tell you if their business model is based on the commission of ad spend? Why would they ever tell you the right solution is to get better at the work so you spend less? Like, they don't care about your bottom line. That has nothing to do with their definition of success. You're not aligned. They're a succubus on your business, right?
Well, that's why I align with you so much, is because that is the basic theory of I'm invested in your success. Because in your success, I succeed.
Yeah.
And without that realization, you're at a loss. You're at that chasing your tail mode, right? And so it was just that's when it really clicked with me of like, not only you're very bright in what you do and your processes, but obsessed, I think, would be a great word for it. But no, it's a
little bit. Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. But that crosses over to who your students are and who you get as students, because they're the people who are passionate about their clients, right? And when we speak, even this morning, how many of the questions after you did your lecture for the Facebook MBA program were about these people's clients and how much they cared, not just about the success of but how much they cared about their clients? Like, the underlying is like, yes, I want them to succeed, but it's all comes back to the I'm invested in your success thought process and theory, right? And so the more I dragged my clients along with this, and the more implementations of oh, this is our new document, that this is where I show you what I'm doing for the next 90 days, or what your nomenclature is, so that you can go in and see exactly. The secretary can go in and say, oh, I know this is the winning ads, and this is the one that's supposed to be getting the most money. I can go on vacation and let the secretary, if she knows my documentation well enough, to be like, oh, okay, well, this is what it does. So that's, I mean, gosh, where can you get that type of thing to where I could literally teach my brother, who's a facilities manager, to do what I do and, read minimally in less than a day, right?
Yeah,
so,
I mean, 95% of the work any media buyer should be doing on the Facebook ads platform can be done by somebody with 2-3 days training. Like, it's not a hard job. Like,
if set up properly, properly.
Yeah. Because ultimately, when you set up the system and structure and process to work, all you're doing is managing the day-to-day. I was on a call with somebody who just joined the Facebook Ads MBA program, and Travia. I don't know if you had a chance to meet her yet, but we were talking about it, and it was a 16-year-old can manage and run a McDonald's that's $1 million location. Because McDonald's system and process is so good, it's almost impossible for that kid that literally doesn't care to do a phenomenally good job. And for what it's worth, I mean, media buying as a skill that requires high level of expertise is effectively dead in the world of Facebook. Like, your real job is setting up the factory to do the work, right? Like, your real job is being a good manager. Your real job is aligning your testing and business objectives with your client's needs. You know what I mean? Like, that's the real work. And 85-90% of what you need to do in a week, like, realistically, that 2 hours, 3 hours max of real work you're going to be doing any week on an ad account. Not like 15 minutes of that is actually like hard work that requires thinking. And realistically, if you can get all of that stuff done by somebody else, that is, if the 2.5 hours out of that 3 hours is just done by somebody that, is very low level, that you can train up to understand things, then that gives you 2.5, 3 hours to do critical thinking to solve the problem better. And meanwhile, out here, we got folks that insist on hours a day of work. That, like, it pains me to think, to understand, to really know that, like, legitimately, there are people that today are heavily focused on figuring out which ad set to raise or reduce their budget on.
Oh my God, those days are so gone. I love that. Like, you know how much more I surf? You're ridiculous, bro. You have no clue. Okay, in the beginning of the course, not so much, because you're overwhelmed with Charlie and trying to figure it all out, right? But then like 3 months in, and then Kelvin sifts through me, and then Tom settles me down, and then Vinny talks me through it a second time. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, I get this. And then I start to talk to them, and all of a sudden they're listening to me, and I'm like, do I know what the fuck I'm talking about? I'm like, wait a minute here. So, you know, it really, like, it says surfing in the title, but that is true. That's exactly why he put it in there. And it was for me is because, look, that's what I did this for. This is what I took this course for. So I live 3 blocks from the beach in Carlsbad in San Diego.
Yeah.
I'm a huge surfer. Most of my clients in the beginning, when I was a designer, were all surf clients. And so that's my life. That's my lifestyle. It's what I do. It's what I want to do. This is what I want to do with my free time. So since that, after all the course and everything's done, and I've consumed 40,000 hours of Charlie, I do have way more confidence. And I download all of my clients' info to my Excel doc. I upload them all in the Scrum doc. And the biggest 30 minutes to 40 minutes in a day is, okay, off of these numbers, off of this week, what are my next moves? And then documenting those next moves, and then implement them. And then there's that hour. So then move on to the next. So there's my entire day or week, right? And I can choose to do that.
You don't have to do that every day either. No. Yeah, and
3 to 7 days is what I tell my clients. Like, you'll get all the new info 3 to 7 days, and then I always have the caveat. They all know me, whether the surf is good or not.
Yeah. I love that. Like, you're at the spot where, like, yes, the work's gonna get done. Yes, I'm gonna outperform 80-90% of the folks out there. Yeah. But if the surf report is really good, I'm gonna do it after lunch.
Peace. And they know it. And I've told you, like, even in our Slack, I've sent you, surf report's good. I told all my clients to piss off today. I'm not coming to the Slack. I'm sorry. It was a hard decision.
None of your clients are unhappy with that because you're massively over delivering.
And that's kind of, they love that. That's like my passion too. So that's like, it's not something stupid. So
yeah, I love that. I love that. Because, like, that's really what it's all about, right? Like, not only are you having utmost confidence in what you're doing, not only do you have a system and process that's easily repeatable by entry-level individuals, not only can you train folks in a simple amount of time to do the lion's share of the day-to-day work, but you've also gained tremendous independence, and you got this freedom for your lifestyle that allows you to be like, no, waves are up. It looks good. Peace. I'll be back in a few hours. Because, like, I love that we've been on calls where you brought your phone to the beach and literally left your phone going. And I was like, well, I don't even, there, he's in a wetsuit. Cool. I guess Jered's gone for a minute. Awesome. And we'll be on, like, group calls. And it's like, it's cool. Like, you're still getting stuff, right? And you come back and watch the recordings and stuff. But it's great. Like, you're getting to live that life. And, you know, whether it's Tom traveling or, you know, I was, you know, if I'm traveling, like, the fact that you can live the lifestyle that you want and you're not tied to the laptop. And as a result, you are producing a confident outcome for the clients, as well as providing for your bottom line and then some, in a way that is, I'm imagining, probably way less stressful and more lucrative than the day jobs you had before. Like, I mean, that's what it's really all about.
I honestly, with my old guru, like, I started, like, I just said, screw this. I don't want to be a designer anymore, because the most I can make, honestly, I loved what I did, but I was maxed out. The most I could make in a year was $65,000, and I could become a creative director and maybe make 70, right? And I'm just like, and I did both of those, and it was just like, but that's a lot of work and a lot of stress, you know, and it's not the 40 hours. That's not 40 hours is what they're asking for. So by the time I'm done, I just invested in me, ate dirt, as Gary Vee would say, for like 2.5 years, did all these side jobs, did all this shit I just hated, including Uber and Lyft.
Oh yeah.
And to this day, Charlie, listen to this. You'll love this story. This is the success story that you'll like. Out of the pandemic, I went from having two main clients in the pandemic, and then sifting through clients enough to where I'd have to drive a little bit and have 2 clients, right? And so that was me sifting. And then after the pandemic, you getting more confidence, and then the economy changing into an e-com economy, bottom line, right? It's just you're either dead in the water after that, or you moved into an e-com economy and figured it out, right? And that was the bottom line. And so that really leveraged me to where I had a lot of clients, a lot of people who knew what I started to do 2.5 years ago. This gets to the success story, I promise. Started calling me. Okay. So then, now, and any day that I feel shitty or feel like I'm not doing my job, or I just, you know how it feels when you're a solopreneur, dude. There's just days where you're just like, I'm faking
like,
it till I make it.
I can't do this.
Yeah, I'm not good at this.
And to be fair, for anybody listening, if you're an entrepreneur and you haven't yet faced that, like, I'm going to give up thing, work harder. Like that is part of it. And I honestly think, I don't know anybody that is regularly making $10,000 weeks on their way to $250,000, $500,000, $1 million a year or more thing, where that fear
FOMO
hasn't crept in to the point of just like, should I give up? It's like a marathon runner at like, they haven't gotten their second win yet. Their legs are tired. They're like 9 miles in and they can bail. But you're that's just part of the journey. Right. And to be fair, I think that's where a lot of people stop progressing because they get comfortable there. And there's a lot of folks out there that basically figured out how to get to that place around 2018, 2019, 2020, and they're riding it out. And I get it, but there's a difference between the solopreneur that's going to become completely financially independent and really create meaningful change, creating jobs, creating opportunity, and bringing joy to people's life. And the person that at best is working really hard to do somebody else's job for a piece of their paycheck. And there's a big difference. And no harm, like that might not be your motivation. Totally fine. Like maybe you just want your bills paid so that you can go off and surf all day. But you're going off and surfing all day and doing way better than just getting your bills paid. And you're less stressed out about work than they are.
That's right. And I can honestly, because I've built this lifestyle, because I've built the lifestyle that I want, and the success story around that is the days that I feel like that, and I feel like I'm a failure and that, that campaign didn't work, or, I lost a client or something to that effect, right? I go down to my car. I keep those damn little fucking placards underneath my dashboard, and I go and look at them, and I go and pick that effer up, and I go, I could be doing this right now. I go back, I put that under my dash, and I go upstairs and I work my little ass off. I'll go do whatever it's necessary, right? Because that's that motivation that I have of like, look, I'm living this amazing lifestyle right now to where good. It's awesome if you're driving your Ferrari to work. But guess what? I'm riding my e-bike to the beach.
Sure. Yeah.
On my time. You might have a Ferrari, but you're answering to somebody that, and ultimately I pick my clients. And so if there is an ultimate issue, it's onus is on me. I picked that client. I took it. I need to own it. As my grandfather says, you jumped in it, you get yourself out of it. That's just the bottom line of it. Right. And but it's a lot. I mean, it takes a lot of self-motivation, a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of sweat. And you got to be able to really, really want it. And you got to eat that dirt, man. You got to eat those ramen noodles for frickin' 2 years if you really want to do it, because I am living 2 blocks away from the beach, the surf lifestyle that I've always really wanted to live and work on my time, walk my dog when I want to walk my dog, and making the most money I've ever made in my entire life.
Yeah. And you're just starting out on what this can really mean for you. Like, you're not even at the point where you're still undercharging and over delivering.
I
You're
know.
still not even at the spot yet where like you've got 3, 4 more steps to go before you even reach the potential of what you deserve today.
Thank
And
you.
I mean, I'm just saying that is like that's the journey, right? That's
No,
where we're
yeah.
all at, right? To
Yeah.
understand where we're coming from. But the fact is, like, you used to be somebody that got paid to work Photoshop. And
Illustrator too. Come on,
now,
I'm pretty good at Illustrator.
okay, it's fine. Adobe, you're an Adobe wizard. You were an Adobe wizard
It's
making
true.
about the same as a manager of a Target, working twice as hard
Yep.
with no ability to manage your own life.
What did
And
my fraternity brother say to you when you first onboarded him about me?
oh,
What
Robert?
did you say? Yeah, Robert.
Oh, I think I said something like, "Oh yeah, he's a creative that learned how to run ads, and now he's like run away with it," something along those lines.
Yeah.
And
Well,
he
because
was
he
like,
knew
"Yeah,"
me
and I
as
love it. Yeah, what's that?
because that's what he knew me as. He didn't
Yeah,
when we spoke, he's like, dude, where did you switch? Because three years ago when we spoke as fraternity brothers, I was still doing the graphic design. I wouldn't say what I was really trying to grind at 3 or 4 years ago, and then all of a sudden I'm just marketing his face off because he's had a marketing agency for a long time now, for a good 10, 15 years.
yeah,
And he's just
and
like,
I love the fact that you were a graphic designer that in a space of a year
year and a
went
half.
from really being graphic designer first at the side hustle to effectively running your own agency and kind of lapping him. And then he and his team came on board too. And now you guys are peers in this spot where he's put a decade in. You joined the MBA program, caught up and passed him. Now he's trying to catch you. And
Well, I don't know if because he's
amazing.
doing something different than me because he's got his
Sure.
own full marketing agency for a long time now and he's built it up, right? He went from solopreneur and doing what were those just the flag, the banner ads, whatever you call
Yeah,
that.
flag native banner
Yeah.
and
And that
programmatic.
was
Yeah.
and he was killing it back in the day. I mean, they was doing great, and then he grew, and then as growth comes regression, right? And
Mhm.
then he just wasn't he's just didn't know Facebook that well. And he's like, we
Yeah.
offer it, but it's not our like bread and
Yeah,
butter.
it's not the
We don't
core
know it
competency. Yeah, it's not
exactly.
the basis of his expertise.
And so when speaking to him, he's just I didn't even realize. And this is, the more I speak to people, the more that really know what they're talking about. They're like, fuck, where did you come from, bro?
Yeah, because I mean, a year and a half ago when you and I met, we were talking about stuff, and it was interesting to see like in the clubhouse rooms with Fitz and with Who Does, and like I haven't even talked to those people in so long, but like I forgot. I remember Who Does because it was like it's Who Does Your Marketing, but everybody's calling him Who
Yep.
Does. And like to see like you were coming from the establishment style of doing stuff,
Kind of, yeah.
and now your casual conversations around things being light years ahead of what 90% of people still think is a good idea, and it was a bad idea 3 years ago. And like that's just so awesome because you're insulated now. Like you're good. And I mean that makes me happy to know that like
Oh, thank you.
friends are making things happen. You know what I mean? And like I think that's just such an incredible thing. And like with that being said, like what is it that you're doing now with your agency? Like I want to make sure that people can also understand like what it is that you're doing and what that looks like for you these days. And I mean, you're one of a handful of folks that I've talked to, and we're getting more and more people to come on board that have gone through the program. But some folks are just out there and wanting to get services and get help and get support and really hire help because they don't want to do it and all of that stuff. And as somebody that a few years ago was basically just working Adobe to the point where now you're living this entire lifestyle, I want to also stress the fact that that doesn't mean that you're not also massively over delivering at the ask, especially against market, right? And what is it that you think that you're doing? What is your unique pace? What are you doing better than the average bear? And what are you most excited about these days? And what does that success look like, in Jered's world?
That's a really great question. I have to kind of assess that and sit back and think about that, and like so keep me on my train of thought, because you know the ADHD. So just
Sure.
bring me
Yeah,
back
yeah,
if you have
absolutely.
to.
Yeah,
Okay, good.
sure.
We got two ADHDs talking to each other right now.
I
So
love
all
it.
of y'all, good luck. so, so, um, so what my processes are now is that I'm really able to go in and make an assessment of someone's account and really understand the workings of another builder. Okay, so if if I was in construction, I could go in and look, or do a house walk around, a Facebook look about, and go, oh, I see what they were doing. I see why they were doing it. I see where they failed. I saw their successes, right? And to be able to identify those things on a level to which I don't even have to go into their actual account. I can go in, and Charlie can say this too, I can go into their Facebook transparency and just look at the ads they're running right now, how many ads they're running, what the ads are doing. Are they running dynamic creatives? How many iterations of them? I can figure out just from that what's going on with their account enough to make cold calls on someone and literally bust them out. And they're like, how do you know all of this? How do you know this information about my account? How do you know that we're doing it wrong? And why? To enough to where I create curiosity to where they want to know what the deal is. What information are you using? What software is this? I'm like, this is, and even more mind blowing. It's not a software, it's just the knowledge of that you're using the Facebook platform, as Charlie said, for probably longer than I've known him, since 2018, the Google way.
Yeah.
And you can identify, all of us can identify it like that. Like I had a conversation with Kelvin of like, hey, when you're talking to clients, what do you do? And that's I'm on topic again, right? Okay, good. Okay. But that's one of the things that I do, is that I will go in and I will give them not only just an audit, but an overview audit of like, hey, you're running 120 ads. How much ad spend do you have? Well, we're running, let's make up a number. We're running 10 grand through that account. There is no way you're able to fund all 120 of those ads with $10,000.
Impossible.
Impossible. Exactly.
Like you can't be doing 20 ads, much less 120.
See how enthusiastic he gets. Exactly.
Oh yeah.
It's his trigger. Trust me, I know.
Yeah. And what I love about that too is so many folks that come to talk to folks like you and me and other people, they're trying to figure out, they got like 15 plates spinning. Like, what am I doing wrong? And it's like, you can immediately identify, well, these are 13 places you're wasting all your time and money.
Right. Pick like, 2 winners. Go. Yeah. Yeah. And so even just from, talking to CMO, the confidence that I have to sit down with an NDA client that only wants to speak to me if I sign an NDA, and then wants me to talk to their CMO, the little graphic designer in me is like, yeah, okay, wow. But then I go and I'll talk to Calvin and Vinny, and I have all the information at my fingertips. It's all there. Like, right? Even in our Slack, like sometimes there's stuff that Calvin's just a genius. He's like your TA. He's amazing. His thought process is so insane. It's ridiculous. So I can go in and see some of Calvin's stuff that I have saved, and that's basically off of your lecture, right? So it's a derivative. He's literally, I said this yesterday, he's the walking dummy thesaurus. You know that dummy book, the little yellow dummy book you all used to buy in college? Yeah, he's that guy. He's that. So, I can just crib notes. Thank you. I can just copy paste something in our chat with the CMO, and their mind is blown just off of, I didn't come up with it, but I know to be able to use it and where and when to use it to mind blow, right? And I'll just be like, oh, well, let's work out your PSM. Oh, well, what's that? You know, but before
Yeah.
6 months ago, I didn't know what it was. Before 6 months
Sure.
ago, I barely knew what myrrh was, you know? So, you know, to be able to speak on a level with people who really can assess my abilities within these conversations, really gives me that level up on a lot of other people. And not only that, but then, and then not to go too far with it, but then in that conversation, when they ask about, let's talk about attribution, and then one of my favorite things, Charlie doesn't literally say it this way, but he pretty much does, is fuck attribution.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't
Wait,
mean anything.
CMO's little mind blows, you know, just
Yeah.
go, wait, I don't care about your attribution. If I am the cog in the wheel that helps that wheel move better and it's greasing it, that's all I care about. And I
Yeah.
have
Immediately,
documentation.
you're no longer saying, I demand credit. You're saying, I don't care who gets the credit. I
As
just want
long
the
as you're
business to be
winning.
more successful. If I can prove that I'm a benefit to your business, let's just go make some money. Who cares
That's
about
right.
who gets credit? Like,
That's right.
I don't even want credit. I want to make everybody else on the team better. Because, like, if I'm running the acquisition, really my job is just make everybody else's job easier.
Yeah.
And if that means that everybody else gets credit, and
Fine.
you can tell like a month in, oh my God, everything's easier and better. And like we're spending less time on phone calls. We're less stressed out. We're making more money. Like that's what you're paying me for. Who cares what my ROAS is? Right. Nobody that actually understands business gives a damn.
And if they do, they're thinking about the business improperly, and then there's already a red flag or a yellow flag. So,
yeah.
So, you know, that these are things, and even inside of that, it's like just the community alone. Okay. So is in fucking valuable. Our Tuesday chats are, we share, we chat. Hey, Tom, what are you doing with this? Hey, how did you do that? Oh, crap. I didn't know that. I think I can implement that on mine. Or I'm sitting down with Tom and it was our Tuesday Slack chats. Everyone else bailed but me and Tom. He sat down with one of my clients and he's like, hey, well, this is what I'm doing here. And this is what Charlie's suggestion on one-on-ones. And what do you think about this? And we just throw it around and we look at my account and I'm like, dude, that's brilliant. I love that. And that ability as a solopreneur is so invaluable because I don't have somebody to bounce around the office. Well, what do you guys think about this? Well, let's throw this around. Well, and then they tether back a different idea. And then that gets the ball rolling. So that group and that community of just high-minded people gives me that ability to move forward with high thought processes and know that I'm making the right move. Even if it's not the right move, it's a well thought out move.
Yeah, and maybe your hit rate is 85, 90%, and you fall on your face once or twice. Fine.
Even if it's 75. Okay, yeah, that's great.
It's great.
Maybe not for you, but for me, it's good.
I mean, hey, look, I want less than that. I want 30, 40% because when I do hit, I'll pay for everything. Like, it depends on the business, right? Like, I was in a business once where it was a 9-figure SaaS business. We got 5 million uniques a month. Like, you know, I was spending, 50, 60, 100 grand a day sometimes. Like, that was, the business, right? And my boss literally said, if I want to test more often than once every 2 to 3 months, I wasn't thinking big enough. Like flat out, if I didn't make a 20% change in the business, then I was wasting his time. And it was just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go fail like a ton. I'll see you in a couple
be back.
Yeah. Like, cool.
Have a bunch
of
Band-Aids on.
In August with a good idea. And he's like, great. And he's paying me like a healthy 6-figure. I got equity. And he's just like, I don't even care. Don't bother me. And it's like, that was a great situation. But what I love about what you're talking about here about the community is like, this is like a little we're all talking about a little nugget of a side little group within the overall MBA program community.
This is true.
But everybody's got all of this information. And one of the things I try to tell people all the time about the community is everybody that's in there, like very few people, I would say honestly, Facebook ads is the thing that they're the best at. Like, you come to the table with Facebook ads being the reason when you joined the MBA program, that was the skill you were trying to level up.
Yep.
And the reason you were able to do that was because you were A+ at 3 other things. And so like the fact that there's an entire bigger alumni group of folks from around the world that are A+ at a million different things. And you've all found these like little groups. There's also like a WhatsApp group for like buyers. I think Gulfham's got one for all the buyers in Europe. And like there's all these like little niches and like clubs. And I mean, that's great. And the fact that everybody can share, what I love about it more than anything is what you find different from this versus like between the MBA program community and all of these subgroups. It's not about, oh, I got a 5x ROAS on a thing and you're like kind of holding a little bit back. Nobody's braggadocious. It doesn't matter.
No, we all literally talk about our failures and how to get better and why is this not working. Those are
and you got dozens of people to be like, oh, this is how I solved it, or this is how I solved it. Oh yeah, I've got that problem too. And so it's an entire community of problem solving instead of ego. And like
there is zero ego. All of it. And we're all willing to help each other. The first time I got into the MBA, Gulfham was the first person. I was like, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong with this pivot table. He goes, bro, so easy. I'm so glad I can tell you this. You're not hitting the sum at the top. You're just leaving it and moving forward. And I go, oh, it's that easy.
Yeah.
You know, and no one's going to know what I'm talking about except for our program people. But
that's fine. But everybody's had that Excel. But the fact is, as a graphic designer trying to build a career around media buying, you joined this community, and an entrepreneur from England who joined the program with his brother, who's also in the audit group with Chris. He's there to basically give you help on your Excel spreadsheet so you can do math easier.
That's it.
Like, and then ultimately what that means is you immediately just lifetime leveled up.
Yeah.
And it took a 30-second exchange.
2 seconds. No problem.
And that stuff happens literally every single day. Like
all the time.
And what I love too is what I love too is, you know, I respond to every post in the group, right?
Yeah.
But like, I think it happened like earlier this week or last week. Like by the time I got to it, you and somebody else had already responded to somebody's question. I think it was like Charles or Vinny had asked something. And
Charles asked a question and I broke it down in 3 different parts.
Yeah, you broke it down and I was like, well Jered is right. I agree with him. Let me know if you have any other questions. And what I love about that is too, like we are creating expertise where everybody's better because they're a part of the group. And so way above and beyond the coursework or being able to ask me something, the fact that you've got people who are experts or from around the world in different skill sets and with different experience means that you're getting this level of support that you're not going to get that from some premium Slack group. You're not going to get that from joining somebody's newsletter. You're definitely not going to get that by buying some pre-recorded course by somebody who's never going to respond to your DMs on Twitter. Like
your conversations in Twitter come maybe mildly 25% close to it, but no.
Yeah.
You know, you're absolutely right because like, look, the first week because Vinny and Tom and Kelvin had this like, I think a month or 2 before I even joined. And then they invited me. And then somehow I didn't take it over, but I seem to be like the one who's every week like, come on, those are almost my favorites, just sitting down with them.
You're a driving force in the community now.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
That's good at Photoshop and Illustrator is now a driving force in like the world's best community of elite media buyers. And it took you, what, 6 months?
Yeah, well,
5 months?
A year, because really a lot of your I listened very intensely on you on Clubhouse and I just stalked you for a good minute and then all your YouTube stuff. So, I mean, I did my levels to where I couldn't get any more YouTube, Charlie. So I had to get into whatever the next part was. And then that was yours. And then
Eric both did that. Where like you got what you could. And then like, I've sucked this dry. I got it. That got you to the point where you could get to the next level and then to the next level, which was
and that's
amazing.
How I worked everything. Even with my one-on-ones, I'm like, hey, I want to finish this whole thing, have all these thousands of questions, have Kelvin answer the questions that I can answer, and then When I can't get that, I want Charlie now because I have large enough clients where it's just worth the investment to have you help me, right? And it already has paid off. 2 days after you changed my major account that I'm trying to get them to close big time on the rest of their entire company, I had a sale, the largest sale we had. And I was like, of course. After Charlie and I fixed it 2 days later, it's like, boom. And then I had my meeting that same day. And he's like, I'm sucking all of my ad spend from shitty Google, and I'm giving you 25% more money. Oh, we have 25% more budget, by the way, for that account. So we'll talk about that tomorrow.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
So, but that's the whole point, is that like I came in and I kind of not took over, but like came in and was just ingratiated in. And then I gave my like, hey, this is how I do things visually. And so any visual or design or any questions that have in that little venue, Vinny will be like, hey, what do you think about my dog's ads and what this thought process? And he'll tell me, and I'll be like, I think it's great and it's valid and you have a great point and you're move forward. Like, let's go. And so that's kind of what I feel like I bring to that side of the community and to my clients is I can creative direct inside of to where it's going to save you a shitload of money, time, and energy. Your graphic designer is going to fucking love me. All of them do because I'm a graphic designer.
Good, and you speak their language.
Yeah. And I give them templates. I'm like, here, just go do it. And I save them they're like, thank you. My job is so much easier because I know exactly what you need. And I give them the size, the templates, and like, here, use creative by concept and throw them all of these and let you guys figure it out. And then I will be your sifting process. And then the sifting process is then validate each one of your elements, right? And then the validation process is the golden nugget. Let's use golden as the validation process is the golden nugget of really Charlie's process. It's the crushing a coal into diamonds and then using the little diamonds to make one enormous big diamond that's going to work. And all using simplification at the same point in time. And then there comes inside the idiosyncrasies that you really have to talk to each other about because, I'll go and hit Kelvin up in that group, that side chat and be like, yo, what do you think about this copy? I'm dyslexic and I'm ADHD, which lends to
Kelvin's been a professional copywriter since the mid 80s. He used to run Digital Marketer, and he's a student to the program. It's like, who are you? Why not go to that? Or for that matter, Miguel came into the program and then exited his business on apparel. Like you got experts from around the world that are doing all sorts of stuff. And
that's it.
Like, how is that? That's amazing.
If I wanted to do it, if I get a new SaaS client, I talk to Vinny. If I get a client that does, I get a client that does solar and needs I need to know what the average AOV of solar or CPA of solar is. I don't remember his name, but you have a solar dude. Real estate.
Yeah.
Every single one of these pieces is filled. All of these people know. And not only that, but then there's on top of that, the information I pass along to my clients is fucking invaluable. Yeah. It's invaluable because I have a client that I'm like, hey, well, it's a lifestyle, a lifestyle brand, the lifestyle brand. And then Kelvin goes, oh, well, just use adventure. Anything adventure, adventure awaits, adventure, is coming, anything adventure, because that's what you're selling. And I'm like, that's $100,000 suggestion from a fucking copywriter.
Yeah. I mean, that's jobs. That's money on the table. That's a roof over your head, right? That's food for your family. And that's one of those things like, so there's this old quote that I love when Picasso, he was at some some shop, right? He was just sitting down and having coffee or something, right? And somebody came up to him and was like, hey, you're Picasso, can you draw me something? And he gets out a napkin and he draws a little thing and he's like, yeah, that'll be 50 grand or whatever it is, right? And I'm like, that took you 30 seconds. Like, it took me 40 years to be able to do that in 30 seconds, and that's the beauty of it. And so really what we're hammering home and we can, move on is just like the fact that it's not just learning how to run ads well. The fact that it's not just learning how to I want to optimize properly. It's not how do I maintain
Scale.
scale at my ROAS. Like none of that matters anymore. You're now taking that very elementary view of how Facebook ads should work. And instead, in a short period of time, moving to the point of looking at a business in a way that makes a truly fundamental difference in the bottom line of the lives of a lot of people. And you're able to leverage expertise from around the world in a way that, I mean, if you couldn't hire the group that we have to be on staff, it would be, you couldn't possibly do that. And these folks, everybody's here just like to be helpful because they've all been in the same spot. Like as much help as you get out of that conversation, that person that's helping you has also gotten that tenfold from somebody else. Well, and the bottom line is everybody's, 10x ROI their investment on the program to begin with. So it's all house money.
No, absolutely. I mean, the next week, Eric, or a month later, Eric joins, and Eric has a bunch of questions. He's like, Jered, and he just felt comfortable with me because we're two California dudes, and he's just calling me, and I felt that obligation because Vinny and Tom and Golfum had poured into me. So it was that sense of like, I'm helping someone. And not only that, but then, then a month later, I find out that Eric does something really cool with this other program. And he's like, oh, well, let me help you with this. Let's talk about this.
Like his whole process. Oh my gosh.
Right? Exactly.
It's brilliant.
No, exactly.
His email flow for customer acquisition at agency level, like that alone, having a conversation with him on that is what could change somebody's life.
But that's the whole point of this is that even when we discussed about this, that, I immediately, even not being in the program, when you said the sense of community, I always derive something from a community. And it's because I put in as much as I put out. And so there is really the point of that is that all of us are just pouring into each other, is because we're all leaning on each other. And we're all very much solopreneurs. And if you're not, you still feel that obligation to your fellow.
Yeah, your fellow.
Yeah, your fellow man and friend that has gone through this thing, and he's on the same course and path as you are. And so why wouldn't you answer his question? Because you're going to be that next person with that next question. And not only that, but then I can pass that along. That information to my clients is worth more than I am charging them. Like you said, 100 times more than I am charging them.
And what I love about that too is like your clients are hiring you to be their Facebook media person. And within a couple of weeks, you're now the resource for 90% of their problems. And it takes you zero effort to solve it because you lean on the expertise of people from around the world. And I mean, that is an irreplaceable, like your unfair advantage in the marketplace versus somebody else that is still focused on cost caps, interest groups, audiences, hacking the system, insisting that they're doing a good job by launching 30 new ads a week. Like that person is so fundamentally missing the point.
Yeah.
And like that's what I'm saying. I mean, you're still undercharging and over delivering.
I know. That's the next point of we're moving my fee rate up. Trust me, very much.
I love it. Make some more money, man. Make some more money. To be fair, before you do go too far with that, let's make sure that people know how to get you while you're still undercharging and over delivering. So with that being said, I want to make sure that people can figure out how to find you and how to work with you. Because they might just be a brand that's like, I can't afford to do all this stuff. I don't want to do this stuff, but I just want to hire this guy because I've got a team of creatives who are pretty good. I know I need to do media buying, but I'm not that good at it. And I need a lot of help in my business model, but I don't have the time to do this thing myself. You're the perfect person for that situation to come in and be that cog that is immediate money in the bank.
Yeah. And I also can speak well with all of the rest of your team members enough to know what their job is, their role is, and how I can help, whether it be Google or not. And yeah, you can just go to my website. It's soatdigital.com, and you can book a Calendly appointment and just set it, and I'll sit down I say 15 minutes. Charlie, how many times have we ever given 15 minutes? Please.
Yeah.
Please.
45-minute call.
So, yeah,
like
exactly. Later, I'm like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
I gotta walk my dog. Just give me a minute. I got so. But no, I mean, we just love talking about what we do, and we're just there's so much passion between it, and so and yeah, and so you can get a hold of me there, and if you need any help, any other directions and areas. My favorite part is I have resources of friends that I'm like, oh, you need an SEO guy. Okay, cool. I got somebody, or a few people you can talk to, right, at that same point in time. And that's the other point I think too, is that you can always use me in different areas. But I definitely am a Facebook and Instagram expert in media buying. That is my main goal. Although we are starting to get into TikTok because that's part of the course that now you're pushing yourself into it, and so that you're dragging us into it too. I'm not saying dragging. I say that metaphorically.
Enthusiastically, people are coming along, and to that point too. I mean, I got to get Andy in here on something, but Andy joined, starting a brand from his drop shipping from TikTok at $50 a day. Was profitable after like 2 weeks. Scaled that. Joined an agency, is now running his own entire TikTok thing, built off the money that he's earning from the Facebook side of thing, completely changing like his entire future because he had like, I got 3 months to make this work, or I got to go, I got to give up.
Drive Uber.
He's like,
I know that.
His back was against the wall, and I was crushing.
Yeah.
Oh no, Steven, not Andy. My bad. Steven was doing that. I don't know why I was going to say. My bad. Steven.
It's okay.
Steven.
It's okay.
Sorry, no, Andy and Steven.
They'll forgive you, I promise.
Probably.
So,
well, man, I know we're coming up on an hour here. I don't want to make it too long, but I would love to ask you 2 things. First off, I want to say thank you. I really appreciate your time. I'd love to ask you 2 things. One, for those people that are maybe interested about the MBA program, but not necessarily sure if it's the right fit for them, I would love to know what you would say to those individuals. And the second thing that I would love to hear from you is just what has been your favorite part about it, and what does the future look like for you moving forward? I think those are the 2 big parting shots I'd love to hear, because I think those in and of themselves could be the most valuable thing that people hear.
What people can get from it, my favorite part of it, and my movement forward. Correct? Those are the 3?
Yeah. We'll call it 3 things. Sure, I can count.
I got it. You asked them, so I'm just naming them. I have to do that. I have to name after and make sure that we're on the same page. Otherwise, I lose it. So, okay. So, the first one is what was? I just lost it again. Sorry. What was the first one?
Joining it, like in the MBA.
Oh yeah, why?
I got you. Question about like if it's worth their time, if they should be doing it, what it looks like. Like
yeah.
Can we help? What from someone who's gone through it? What do you have to say?
What I have to say is that it's like Charlie's like playing an instrument. Okay, I love analogies. We love analogies. Okay, so or let's just go instrument because I like this one. Charlie's like playing an instrument as a kid. Okay, you need to know that it's going to be the right fit and that this is where you want to go with it. Now, if you're like me, you didn't know if this is exactly the road you wanted to go down and you wanted to learn. Now, I started slow, right? I just started consuming YouTube until where I could not move forward. Then I leveled up into, I don't remember whatever area, the Slack or something to that effect, some other area to where it was all his ebooks, and I just poured through all the ebooks and did all the learning. And then you start to really figure out if the MBA program is going to be good for you, because everyone learns differently. First of all, I'm a visual learner, right? And so I have to consume it differently. And so in order to be able to learn from Charlie, you have to consume a little bit differently from visually, because there's a lot of math. And so so what I'm saying by the instrument is like you want to pick it up and you want to make sure that you get lessons, and that if you're going to jump right in, I think it's probably not the smartest idea to jump right in unless you already know, like Brill, that this is what you want to do. This is your agency's doing this, and you need to be better at it because you're just not on par with everybody else. And then that's just a bar none if you're already doing it and you think you're doing it incorrectly, and you watch like 3 of his videos and you just be like, well, what the, and I'm not doing that, then you need to join immediately. Bottom line. Okay. Now, if you're transitioning, then I would do it like I have, and I'm not patting myself on the back, is it consume, 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 and to where you just level up. And now I understand that area to where now I have questions, move forward. Now I understand that area. So, I mean, for me, I started consuming Charlie Free. Then I got into his ebook course. And then I was like, I can't drive anymore from this. I need to be in the MBA program. And then the MBA program was amazing. But for me, the next question, the sense of community and being able to bounce ideas off around my fellow members is by far the best thing of all time. Like, it's just amazing. And the people, it really is because you curate really amazing people to follow you. Okay. And we all have a similar DNA construct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so because of that, we all really just get along because we're all very enthusiastic and we all know that we have a similar goal. And so that's just amazing. And then the last thing for me is I want to be able to be not a solopreneur. I want to be able to grow this out to where, you know, ultimately I could get my little brother out of facility management and run him through your course and be like, hey, let's pay for the other half for you to get one-on-ones with Charlie so you can get better at this. And I can create an agency with my little brother and, you know, maybe Tom or Vinny or Calvin or something to that effect, you know, and move forward, because I think that's where really it is for me. And then not only that, but moving forward also in not just running Facebook ads, because your course is not just a Facebook ad course. It's really not. And I really want to make sure, this is probably going to be his quote, but it's an MBA course. It really is. And I've said this since the beginning, before Calvin coined it, which is true. He did coin it, but I told you this even before I joined that, or right when I joined, that this is MBA. You're teaching me to be a marketer. You're teaching a graphic designer to be a potential CMO. Right. And never in my life did I think that I could be a potential CMO. And now I could sit down with CMOs in a room and have them look at me with kind of awe and disunderstanding of my element of, you're just a media buyer, but you're talking about, hey, let's pull the lever in email and let's see if we can do this more. Let's not retarget. This is not the platform for this. Let's use email. It's free. Wait, I've never heard somebody say that before. Well, then they're doing it wrong, right? Or hey, you know, your ads for Google aren't going to work here in Facebook. You know, here's why. And so moving forward, I'd really like to get more into, you know, YouTube and TikTok with my agency and do a little bit more inside of that. I think I'm going to leave the Google's stuff for all the rest of you, and just keep with this the platform that I know, the cost per millis, and just grind that. So yeah, that's what I'd really like to do.
I love it, man, and I really appreciate that. And like, if ultimately this one little graphic designer that wanted to surf more can develop a family business to provide for like the generation, like that's amazing. Like that's the way I do it. I mean, the bottom line is like,
I know
my why is to have more conversations with people just like, yeah, I want to get my little brother a better job, and we're going to start a family business because I'm sick and tired of under earning and just sitting at Photoshop and Illustrator all day long. And I'd rather be surfing. And I 100% should be. Like, you deserve that. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be working as hard for less than you're worth. And the honest truth is, you're probably not charging what you are worth even to this day. And I'll keep pounding that point home.
I know. You're right. You're absolutely right. I will charge more. All of my clients are going to get a notice that is going to be well worded from Charlie and Kelvin. Probably not even going to be any of my words at all.
Yeah.
Get that nice soft email sent out of, hey, inflation's here and I've been working for you for a year and a half.
Yeah. If this extra $500, this extra $1,000 a month doesn't matter to you because of what I've done.
Yeah.
And you're 100% worth that little bit extra. Because
Look,
like, especially if someone's been working for 6 months or a year, if they just prepaid the next 6 months on that little bit extra tax on working with you, they're making that back in the first week of that 6 month period. Then hey, it's all profit from there. Like,
I'll
you're
give you
so
a great
far into the
success
house
story.
money in the relationship.
I'll give you a great success story to end here. So I started with a charity business, and their charity gift cards called Tis Best. I don't have an NDA with them. Go buy charity gift cards from them. They're fucking amazing. They're great people. They're the sponsor of they're the old charity sponsor for the Ellen show, so that also helps too. But they came to me from Clubhouse and said, "Hey, we heard you. We'd like to use your expertise, and Facebook ads have never worked for us ever. We've tried 2 different people." I went in, I looked, and I said, "Okay, I understand. I see what you're doing." So we went in. They gave me 2 months. So we ramped up in 2 months, and then in October we launched. Went from, they wanted traffic, like, we know how that works, but then we went, as soon as we rolled from traffic to conversion, when I finally convinced them and they started putting money in it, the first month that they used me, they made $200,000 for their charity. I proved to them in January, when they were going to shut it down, I said, "Give me 2 months. Give me a little bit of leeway with 2 months," because remember, this is a charity. They don't make that $200,000. That $200,000 goes right out the money. They have a certain set budget, and if I push that budget, they have to rebudget everything because of that. Okay, so I have to remember that. So I said, "Hey, give me 2 more months. I think I can make you way over and above beyond in your off months." They have never run ads anytime after December. And September is when they would start. I have made them over $20,000 a month. I think this month we're at 70, over and above what they make every month over month.
So, wow, you're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars,
hundreds of thousands of dollars extra
for really good causes to make the world a better place. Because like, hey, maybe I should value myself a little bit more and invest in my future. And like, what that ended up looking like in your investment is making the world a bit of a better place for these other folks. Like, that's amazing. I love that. So, like, that's what it's all about, right? Like, so why? Otherwise, you could be maybe a graphic designer or a creative director, never get to that point, work 5 times as hard for half as much money, and
not as much surfing.
Not nearly as much surfing. Not at all. Like, not at all.
No. Can't buy that new surfboard I want. No,
no.
Got to buy one every other year.
The surfboards you want. Yep. You're living your calendar by the surf report and making more money than you ever did before, and making the world a better place while doing it. I mean, that's everything. I love that.
That's exactly it. So yeah, that's the end of it. Like, that's the end all be all. And now they're asking me what can we do next, and I'm just like, I don't know. Ask Charlie. We'll talk to Charlie. We'll figure out if we can maximize this even further. I doubt it, but we'll find out.
We'll find out. We'll find something. We'll find something for sure.
I know we will. So that's where it is. That's where I stand, man. There's the good success story to end. I think we wrapped it up pretty tight. That was nice. I love chatting with you, bro.
I love chatting with you too, man. I love it.
Our energy is always super fun.
With that being said, man, I'll call it there. But hey, look, everybody watching this thing, give the man a follow, ask him some questions on some stuff. I really appreciate your time, man. I'm gonna go enjoy some life. I know you are too. And with that, like, I'll see you. I guess tomorrow we're gonna have a chat.
Twice. So, you're gonna see me twice tomorrow.
I'll get to see you then. Until literally tomorrow. Yep. I'll talk to you later.
All right, you're the man, Charlie.
See
Bye,
you,
everybody.
Buddy.